of the buildings in my novels don't exist anymore, or I made them up. So today we're being location scouts, looking for buildings that have the same vibe. We've come in search of some old mews that represent the narrow lanes where they keep the horses and carriages behind Grosvenor Square. When Sarah finds it necessary to break into the Weatherby home, she approaches through the mews.
Behind the houses, the mews were deserted, but a few lanterns still glowed. Gates were closed in front of carriages, and horses snuffled in their stables. Sarah made her way to the back stairs, and quietly ascended to the top door. Pulling an old key from a chain around her neck, she carefully let herself in, closing the door softly behind her.
And now for something completely different.
They've locked my GD clean. Don't move on. Get out of the don't go Joe. About the deed.
This place is lovely, Mum. Why are we somewhere so modern?
I'm looking for some Romani influence, and Bardo is the name the Romani people give to their traditional wagons.
Are there Romani characters in the Seasons Trilogy?
Sarah and the cavalry frequently cross paths with the Roma people when they're on the move. Sarah's best friend is Fenix Petulengro. The soldiers had a particularly friendly relationship with the Petulengro family. They kept track of each other's movements as best they could and took the chance to trade, horse race, gamble and dance whenever their paths crossed. From the Romanichal families, Sarah learned to throw knives, hunt and trap, and she and Fenix exchanged fiddle lessons for reading lessons. Between the skills she learnt from the soldiers and the Romanichal families, there wasn't much Sarah couldn't do. This is the Royal Hospital, Chelsea, where Sarah's Uncle Jack ends up, but we can't stop. We're on our way to the Chelsea Physic Garden.
Sarah helps her mother tend to the soldiers' illnesses and injuries, and she learns about natural remedies from the Roma families. We've come to see which plants she might have used to treat her patients.
We went searching for a staff member to help us out, but on Sunday afternoons, they're hard to find. Let's see what we can learn from the labels.
We learned that English marigold was used for digestive problems and to treat the plague. Hart's tongue fern was recommended for diarrhea and diabetes. Sweet woodruff treated stomach and liver complaints, and St. John's wort was a remedy for deep wounds.
You need toothpick weed for asthma, food allergies and hay fever, and mandrake and opium for pain relief. We also found plants from Australia and New Zealand that Sarah will learn about from the Wadawurrung people of Ballarat. Here's a little slice of Australia. And also Jamaica, where Reese's brother Timothy ends up. He finds it beautiful but strange.
The weather was hot and humid, and the vegetation was so lush and disordered that it seemed vaguely oppressive, reminding Timothy of Mr. Wordsworth's poem with its wild, secluded scene.
Maybe we should just buy the book before heading off to our next location. In the season of Gold Dust and Gilt, there's a fictional street called Barge Point Road, just behind the docks to the east of the Tower of London. On one side of the street, there's an old Tudor Guildhall, which serves as the headquarters for the Abolitionist Society. It campaigns against slavery and forced labour. Directly opposite is an old dockside tavern called the Dauntless Duck, where a great deal of action takes place. So we need to find an old Tudor building and an old tavern with a duck in its name.
So this is confusing. We found some Tudor buildings that are taverns with birds in their names, and some old taverns with completely non-bird related names.
Here are some taverns with a bird, but they're the wrong sort of bird. Let's see what we can do with our imaginations and a bit of movie magic. Halfway down the street, the cab paused in front of an old Tudor building that looked like it was held up by character alone. There was a painted sign above the door that said Abolitionist Society. Henny Watson spun to look at the other side of the lane. She saw a low tavern opposite. It had a swinging sign painted with its name, the Dauntless Duck, and a picture of a white duck charging forward. Henny knew that Reese had met with foul play there, and she was determined to investigate.
That's a spoiler, Mum. Now we need a flashback to Reese's visit.
Out of the way, flashback coming up. Reese sniffed the air and looked at the ancient structure they were about to enter with trepidation. Rollicking music and lights spilled out of the windows, and through the door there was a wall of smoke, the smell of liquor and body odour, and ear-splitting noise. Here's another spoiler. Reese's life takes an unexpected turn when he is press-ganged into the military. It's quite the shock, but he's up for the adventure. Mother! The company formed up and marched along the road under a sunny blue sky. Reese had to concentrate to keep the rhythm, having never marched anywhere before. The crowds lined the streets, cheering them on their way, and he marvelled at the change in his circumstances. A week ago, he had been in hiding. Now there were new horizons ahead, and he was in excellent company. I know those are the wrong soldiers. Settle down, you history nerds. Reese was in the 18th Light Dragoons, so his uniform would have looked like this.
Dark blue and gold trimmings with those really uncomfortable shako hats designed by Prince Albert. I bet they couldn't wait to take them off.
We did some research into the uniforms when we visited Cecil Court. The 18th Light Dragoons was formed in 1759 and saw service for 2 centuries, including charging the centre of the French position at the Battle of Waterloo. It was disbanded in 1821 but reformed in Leeds in 1858. I have filled in that gap for them by sending them to the Australian goldfields.
Is the smaller one with the black cap? Like right in the
What is it you want? 18th reserve.
18th Light Dragoon.
So that's a private, and that's white fur, so that might be a bit early on. By the 1850s, I think they were all pretty well gold and blue. We've come to Shakespeare's Globe on the South Bank to see our next show, The Merry Wives of Windsor. We're going to have to stand in the stalls for the whole show.
This theatre is a replica of the original Globe, which was a 20-sided polygon with 3 galleries and no roof.
The Hutton family are famous for their Shakespearean repertoire. I wonder what their favourite lines are.
A horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Is this a dagger which I see before me?
My favourite Shakespeare line is the stage direction, exit pursued by bear.
To be or not to be, there is the question.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
We are too wise to woo peaceably.
Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house into the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious reeds, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, and our dreadful marches to delightful measures.
Our feet are really sore, but it was worth it, so it's fare thee well to day 3. We hope you will join us for day 4. We'll be searching for the Weatherby family home in London's beautiful garden squares.